They explained that humans never eat meat until the human in class opened his lunchbox. Elias Trent drifted through the gleaming corridors of Lumen Prime Academy, a vast orbital campus circling a radiant star in the Light Alliance. Streams of solar energy pulsed through translucent walls, nourishing students who thrived on light alone. At 19, Elias felt like an outsider, his human body craving something more solid than the shimmering beams. Earth gravity, its rich scents, tugged at his memory. Here, everything glowed too brightly, too perfectly. He slipped into the lecture hall, settling at the back. Professor Linar, a crystalline being with facets that caught the light like prisms, stood at the podium. "Consuming matter is a primitive crime," Linar declared, his voice sharp as glass. Students, their forms glowing softly, nodded in agreement. Elias shifted uncomfortably, his stomach rumbling. He tried to focus, but hunger gnawed at him. The lecture stretched on, Linar's holograms depicting ancient worlds that devoured flesh. "Such acts disrupt cosmic harmony," he intoned. Elias glanced at his bag, where a small container held synthetic protein stew, crafted by Earth's bioreplicators. No animals, just engineered nutrients with a savory grilled aroma. He waited for the break, his mouth watering. When the session paused, students relaxed, their light-based forms pulsing in quiet conversation. Elias opened the container, steam curling upward with a rich, meaty scent. He scooped a quick bite, warmth spreading through him. The taste grounded him, a fleeting piece of home. A gasp broke the silence. A photosynthetic student nearby froze, her fronds trembling. Eyes turned wide and glowing. Another student, a delicate energy wisp, collapsed, her faint hues dimming. Elias stopped mid-bite, spoon hovering. What just happened? Alarms screamed through the hall. Red lights flashed, bathing the room in an urgent glow. "Predatory energy detected," the system blared, mechanical and cold. Doors sealed with a heavy thud, locking everyone inside. Students scrambled back, their lights flickering in panic. Fear rippled like a shockwave. Elias stood, clutching the container. "It's just lunch," he said, voice unsteady. No one heard over the chaos. Shouts overlapped, accusations flying. Professor Linar retreated 3 steps, his crystalline form dimming slightly. "You brought death into this sanctuary," he accused, his tone trembling with disgust. Elias waved the box, desperate. "It's synthetic. BioReplicators make it. No creatures die." His words drowned in the uproar. Security drones swooped in, their scanners humming over him. Red beams swept his body, lingering on the stew. In the corner, Tira, a shy photosynthetic student, watched through her translucent fronds. Elias's confusion stirred something in her. The scent terrified her, primal and strange, yet his earnestness sparked curiosity. Humans were different, not what she expected. Screens along the walls flared to life. Galactic news feeds broadcast headlines. "Humans, predators in disguise?" Elias stared, heart sinking. His quiet lunch had ignited a firestorm. Whispers of a trial echoed through the feeds, spreading to distant star systems. Elias sat in a holding room, the stew cooling in his bag. The Academy's artificial gravity pressed down, heavier now. Guards stood outside, their lights steady but cold. He thought of Earth, of summer barbecues under open skies, laughter mingling with smoke. Here, every glance judged him. Tira lingered in the corridor, her fronds catching faint traces of the stew's scent. It wasn't pure malice. Maybe it was something else. She hesitated, then moved on, her glow flickering with questions. Professor Lino regained his composure, sending urgent messages to the Alliance. Humans hid their nature, he insisted. This required action. Yet a sliver of doubt crept into his crystalline mind. Elias heard footsteps. A door slid open, revealing an official in a sleek uniform. "You're summoned to the Aurora Alliance Council," the official said. Elias nodded, no choice left. He grabbed his bag, the weight of it grounding him. The shuttle hummed as it prepared for launch. Elias boarded, flanked by guards. Stars streaked past the viewport, a blur of light against the void. He gripped the container, its contents now a symbol of trouble. On Earth, Ambassador Jonah Hale scrolled through the reports. A wry smile crossed his face. "Kids stirred up the galaxy," he muttered. "Time to step in, smooth things over." Back at the academy, classes resumed, but the air felt charged. Students glanced at Elias's empty seat. Tira sat quietly, her thoughts drifting to the human. Fear battled with wonder in her mind. Linar lectured again, his voice steadier but less certain. Had he misjudged the human? The question lingered, unvoiced. Elias stared out the shuttle's viewport. The trial loomed like a distant star, inevitable. Humans adapted, always had. This was just another test. The shuttle docked at a relay station. Holograms flashed more headlines. Galactic outrage over human habits. Elias ignored them, focusing on his breath. He needed to stay sharp. In his temporary quarters, sleep came slowly. Dreams of Earth filled the silence. Grassy fields, sizzling grills. Morning brought the next leg of the journey. The council planet glowed below, a beacon of judgment. Elias straightened his uniform, stepping off the shuttle. The air buzzed with energy, charged with anticipation. Jonah met him at the gate, clapping his shoulder. "Relax, kid. We've got this." Elias exhaled, relief flickering like a spark. They approached the council chamber, its doors towering and radiant. Voices hummed inside, a chorus of light-based beings. Elias took a deep breath, steeling himself. The galaxy watched, waiting. The doors parted, revealing a sea of glowing delegates. Holograms flickered, showing Earth's past. Hunts, feasts, fires. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Elias stood tall, ready to face the storm. The Aurora Alliance Council chamber glowed with a soft, radiant hum. Delegates from 47 star systems filled the vast space, their forms shimmering like living stars. Elias Trent stood at the center, his human silhouette stark against the pulsing lights. Ambassador Jonah Hale, a wiry man with a sharp grin, stood beside him. The air felt thick, charged with scrutiny. Holograms flared to life above the council. Images of Earth's past flickered. Hunters stalking prey, fires roasting meat, feasts under open skies. A murmur rippled through the delegates. Senator Vin, an energy cloud, pulsed a deep red. "They burned life to sustain themselves," Vin declared, their voice a low thrum. Disgust crackled in the air. Elias shifted, his palms sweaty. He glanced at Jonah, who gave a subtle nod. "Go on, kid," Jonah whispered. Elias cleared his throat. "Those are old records," he said, voice steady but soft. "We use bioreplicators now. They build food from raw elements. No creatures die." He gestured, wishing he had the stew to show. The delegates' lights flickered, unconvinced. A crystalline senator leaned forward. "Your history reeks of violence," they said. Murmurs grew louder, a chorus of doubt. Elias felt the weight of their gazes, each one a star judging him. Jonah stepped forward, his tone light but firm. "History's messy for everyone," he said. "Let's talk about now." He gestured to Elias. This kid's lunch was synthetic. Earth moved on. The council quieted, but skepticism lingered like a haze. From the shadows, archivist Sorel emerged, their ancient form glowing faintly. "The Alliance has its own shadows," Sorel said, voice like a distant echo. Holograms shifted, revealing ancient records. Energy beings consumed by the Alliance millennia ago, their lights snuffed out. The chamber fell silent. Delegates' glows dimmed, stunned. Senator Vin retreated into their thoughts. Alone in a quiet alcove, they pulsed faintly. Their own history, so pristine in memory, now felt tarnished. Hypocrisy stung sharper than accusation. Vin's red glow softened, shame creeping in. Elias saw the shift in the room. He took a breath, stepping forward. Every species has a past, he said. Progress means learning, not pretending we're perfect. His words hung in the air, simple but heavy. A few delegates nodded, their lights steadying. Jonah caught the moment, his diplomat's instincts sharp. Let's prove goodwill, he said, addressing the council. Host a feast at Solaris Station. No harm, just shared food. Whispers stirred, some curious, others wary. The idea sparked interest, a faint glow of possibility. Saril inclined their head. A test of intent, they said. I support it, the council murmured, debating in low pulses. Elias felt a flicker of hope. Maybe his mistake could build something. Vin returned to the chamber, their glow steadier. They said nothing, but their silence spoke volumes. The trial paused, the council adjourning to consider Jonah's proposal. Elias exhaled, tension easing slightly. Jonah clapped Elias's shoulder. You just taught the galaxy a lesson, kid, he said, grinning. Elias managed a small smile. The weight of judgment lingered, but a path opened. Outside, the neutral planet's skies shimmered with auroras. Elias and Jonah walked to their quarters, the council's hum fading behind them. News feeds buzzed with updates. Humans face trial. Feast proposed. The galaxy watched, waiting. Elias sat by a viewport, stars stretching endlessly. He thought of the stew, now a galactic incident. Jonah joined him, sipping a nutrient drink. They'll come around, Jonah said. Food's a language everyone speaks. The shuttle to Solaris Station waited. Elias boarded, his mind racing. The BioReplicator of light, Earth's latest tech, would be their tool. He needed to get it right. The journey was swift, hyperspace blurring past. Solaris Station loomed, a fortified hub orbiting a binary star. Its sleek design screamed security. Elias felt the pressure rising again. Security Chief Varent Loom met them at the dock. His form, a lattice of cold light, radiated authority. No living matter enters, Varent warned, his voice like ice. Jonah nodded, calm as ever. Just photons, Chief. You'll see. Elias clutched the BioReplicator's control pad. Its specs flashed in his mind. Processing 10 quadrillion photons per second, crafting edible energy. He could make it mimic Earth's flavors. Barbecue, without the meat. Varen led them through the station. Delegates already gathered, their whispers sharp with doubt. The human experiment, one called it. Ellis ignored them, focusing on the task. In a prep chamber, Elias worked alone. The BioReplicator hummed, its light display mesmerizing. He programmed flavors, his fingers steady despite nerves. This had to work. Voren watched from a distance, his thoughts conflicted. Humans could bridge divides or spark chaos. Duty demanded vigilance, but hope flickered faintly. The grand hall was prepared for the feast. Tables glowed under soft lights. Delegates filed in, their curiosity battling caution. Elias tested the device, a faint barbecue scent wafting out. Jonah mingled with the crowd, his charm disarming skeptics. It's about sharing, not taking, he said, voice warm. A few delegates nodded, intrigued. Elias adjusted the settings, heart pounding. The scent grew stronger, soft but rich. It filled the hall, drawing eyes. The feast was moments away. A delegate sniffed the air, their glow brightening. What's that? They asked. Elias smiled, nerves easing. Just wait, he said. The stage was set. Solaris Station orbited a binary star, its metallic hull gleaming under twin suns. Reinforced bulkheads and energy shields marked it as a fortress of diplomacy. Elias Trent stood in the grand hall, the BioReplicator humming softly beside him. Delegates gathered slowly, their lights casting curious shadows. The faint barbecue scent lingered, drawing hesitant glances. Security Chief Varen Loom patrolled the edges, his lattice form rigid. Any trace of living matter, and I seal the station, Varen warned, his voice a cold echo. Jonah Hale nodded unfazed. Photons only, Chief. Trust the process. Varen's glow narrowed, but he stepped back, watching closely. Jonah turned to Elias, his eyes twinkling. Show them what Earth's got, he said. Elias nodded, fingers dancing over the controls. The BioReplicator of light word to life, processing streams of photons. He programmed familiar flavors, smoky, tangy, with a hint of spice. No meat, just energy patterns. Elias wiped his brow, determination steadying him. The device could handle 10 quadrillion photons per second, weaving them into edible forms. A marvel of human ingenuity, blending science with sustenance. He tested a small batch, light swirling into glowing orbs. Delegates whispered in clusters, their tones laced with doubt. This human experiment could fail, one said. Another pulsed faintly. Eating without harm? Intriguing, but risky. Elias caught the words, his resolve hardening. He adjusted the output, the scent growing richer. Alone in a side chamber, Elias paused. The weight of galactic politics pressed on him. One slip, and Earth faced isolation. He thought of home, of simple meals shared with friends. Now he represented billions. A deep breath steadied him. Back to work. Varen oversaw the setup from a console, his mind divided. Humans might heal old rifts or ignite new ones. Duty demanded caution, yet a spark of hope flickered. He scanned the hall again, sensors humming. No threats yet. The station buzzed with final touches. Technicians aligned the tables, their surfaces glowing softly. The BioReplicators display mesmerized onlookers, light patterns dancing like fireflies. Elias fine-tuned the flavors, adding a subtle warmth. The council assembled fully, their forms forming a spectrum of lights. Curiosity battled wariness in their postures. The barbecue aroma wafted stronger, softer and inviting. A delegate sniffed the air, glow brightening slightly. Elias met Jonah's gaze. Almost time. Jonah mingled with the crowd, his charm easing tensions. This is about connection, he said to a skeptical senator. Laughter rippled from one group, faint but genuine. Elias watched, inspired. The feast could change everything. Varan approached Elias, his form imposing. Your device clears scans, he admitted. Elias nodded. It's safe, you'll see. Varan paused, then stepped away. A small concession, but meaningful. The hall filled with anticipation, lights pulsing in rhythm. Elias activated the main sequence. Glowing dishes materialized, mimicking Earth's barbecue. Steam rose, energy-based but aromatic. Delegates leaned forward, intrigued. A light creature extended a tendril, hesitant. It sampled an orb, colors shifting. Like savoring a sunset, it exclaimed, voice awed. Smiles spread, tentative at first. More delegates tried, chatter growing. Jonah navigated the room explaining Earth's ways. We share meals to bond, not to conquer, he said. Tensions ease, lights blending in harmony. Elias monitored the BioReplicator, its hum steady. Suddenly, the device beeped softly. Faint energy signatures appeared on the screen. Remnants of ancient souls. Alliance echoes from long ago. Elias's eyes widened. He glanced around, unnoticed by most. He decided quickly, integrating the signatures subtly, to honor the past without alarm. The dishes glowed warmer, infused with history. Elias hoped it worked. Tira, the photosynthetic student from the academy, stood nearby. She tasted a dish, warmth spreading through her. It stirred ancestral memories, a gentle connection. Her fronds rustled softly, wonder filling her. The hall brightened, stories flowing freely. Delegates shared tales, their lights intertwining. Elias watched, a faint shimmer rising from the food. Unseen by most, but growing. Deeper truths hovered close. The feast deepened, laughter echoing. Jonah caught Elias's eye, nodding approval. Varen relaxed slightly, joining the edge of the group. Harmony built, fragile but real. A delegate raised a glowing appendage. More of this sunset flavor, they requested. Elias obliged, the device responding smoothly. The shimmer intensified, bands forming faintly. Elias kept silent, heart racing. The past whispered through the present. The council bonded, unaware of the layers unfolding. Professor Linar arrived late, his crystalline form hesitant. He sampled a dish, glow softening. Change stirred within him. The energy bands pulsed stronger, catching a few eyes. Elias swallowed, ready for what came next. The grand hall of Solaris Station shimmered under soft, shifting lights. A massive table glowed at the center, its surface reflecting the delegates' radiant forms. Elias Trent stood by the BioReplicator of light, its hum a steady heartbeat. The barbecue scent, warm and smoky, curled through the air, drawing curious glances. Delegates from 47 star systems mingled, their skepticism softening with each whiff. Elias adjusted the controls, his fingers steady despite the crowd. The BioReplicator spun photons into glowing dishes, mimicking Earth's grilled flavors without a trace of matter. He glanced at Jonah Hale, who weaved through the delegates, his grin disarming. "Try it," Jonah urged a hesitant light creature. "It's sharing, not taking." The creature's tendrils wavered, then reached forward. The first taste sparked a reaction. The creature's glow flared, colors dancing. "It feels like savoring a sunset," it said, voice tinged with awe. Murmurs rippled outward. More delegates approached, their lights pulsing with curiosity. Laughter broke the silence, tentative but growing. Jonah worked the room, his words smooth as the station's hull. "Earth's meals bring us together," he said to a crystalline senator. The senator nodded, sampling a glowing orb. Their facets brightened, skepticism fading. The hall buzzed with chatter, a symphony of alien voices. Elias monitored the BioReplicator, its display weaving intricate energy patterns. A soft beep caught his attention. The screen showed faint signatures, ancient alliance souls woven into the photons. His heart skipped. He hadn't planned this, but the device detected them, echoes of a forgotten past. He hesitated, then let the signatures blend into the dishes. A quiet tribute to history, no need for alarm. The orbs glowed warmer, their light richer. Elias watched the delegates, hoping the choice was right. Tyra, the photosynthetic student from Lumen Prime, stood near the table. She tasted an orb, her fronds quivering. Warmth spread through her, stirring memories not her own. Ancestral whispers, faint but real, connected her to the past. Her glow softened, wonder replacing fear. The hall's atmosphere shifted, lights blending in harmony. Delegates shared stories, their voices overlapping like waves. A cloud-like being laughed, recounting a festival from their nebula. An energy wisp responded, describing their own rituals. The feast became a bridge. Jonah caught Elias's eye, nodding slightly. "You're doing it, kid," he mouthed. Elias managed to smile, tension easing. The BioReplicator hummed smoothly, its output flawless. The scent of simulated barbecue filled the space, comforting and strange. Security Chief Varin Loom lingered at the edge, his lattice form rigid. He scanned the hall, sensors active. The energy signatures flickered on his console, but no threats appeared. He stepped closer, sampling a dish. His glow steadied, suspicion softening. Professor Linar entered, his crystalline form dimmer than usual. He approached the table, hesitant. Elias offered an orb, his expression neutral. Linar took it, tasting carefully. His facets warmed, a subtle shift. The arrogance faded, replaced by curiosity. Delegates crowded the table, their lights intertwining. Stories flowed freely, from tales of star migrations to ancient feasts. The hall pulsed with life, a mosaic of colors. Elias adjusted the BioReplicator, adding a hint of zest to the next batch. The faint shimmer of ancient souls grew stronger, unnoticed by most. Bands of light hovered above the table, delicate and serene. Elias watched them, heart pounding. They felt alive, watching the gathering. Jonah noticed the bands, his eyes narrowing briefly. He trusted Elias, steering the conversation to unity. "We all share a table now," he said, raising a glowing orb. Delegates echoed the gesture, their lights flaring in agreement. Tira moved closer to Elias, her fronds brushing the air. "This feels like home," she said softly. Elias nodded, surprised. Her words carried weight, a bridge between worlds. Varen joined the crowd, his posture less rigid. He tasted another orb, his glow warming slightly. The feast was safe, he decided. Maybe humans weren't chaos, after all. The hall grew brighter, laughter echoing off the walls. Delegates swapped tales, their differences fading. The BioReplicator churned out more dishes, each one a spark of connection. Elias glanced at the shimmering bands, now more distinct. They pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. He kept silent, letting the moment unfold. The past was here, woven into the present. Leonor approached Elias, his voice low. "This is unexpected," he said. Elias nodded, unsure how to respond. Lenor's glow softened further, a crack in his pride. The feast deepened, the hall alive with shared energy. Delegates moved freely, their lights blending into a vibrant spectrum. Jonah clapped a senator's shoulder, laughing at a shared joke. The shimmering bands grew bolder, catching a few eyes. A delegate paused, staring upward. Elias held his breath, ready for the truth to surface. The grand hall of Solaris Station pulsed with radiant warmth, its air thick with the scent of simulated barbecue. Delegates laughed and shared stories, their glowing forms weaving a tapestry of light. Elias Trent stood by the BioReplicator, its steady hum anchoring him. The shimmering bands of ancient Alliance souls floated above the table, delicate and ethereal. He watched them, heart racing, but kept silent to preserve the fragile peace. The bands grew brighter, curling like wisps of starlight. Most delegates remained absorbed in the feast, unaware of the spectral presence. Elias adjusted the BioReplicator, ensuring the dishes flowed smoothly. The energy signatures, remnants of a buried past, blended seamlessly into the glowing orbs. He felt their weight, a quiet connection to history. Professor Linar lingered near the table, his crystalline facets catching the light. He tasted another orb, his glow softening further. The flavor stirred something deep, a memory beyond his own. Eating wasn't just consumption, he realized. It could bind, not break. His earlier judgment of Elias felt hollow now, a crack in his crystalline pride. Linar paused, gazing at the table. In his mind, he saw the Academy's sterile halls, where he'd preached purity. The feast challenged that, offering connection over dogma. His facets pulsed gently, a quiet shift toward humility. Jonah Hale moved through the crowd, his diplomat's charm in full force. He noticed the shimmering bands, his eyes narrowing briefly. Trusting Elias's instincts, he steered the conversation. "This feast unites us," he said to a glowing senator. "Shared tables erase old divides." The senator nodded, their light steadying. Delegates began sharing ancient traditions, their voices a chorus of memory. A cloud-like being spoke of nebula dances, their glow pulsing rhythmically. Another described rituals of starlight harvests, their tendrils swaying. Earth's communal males found echoes in their tales, a universal thread. Tira, the photosynthetic student, stood close to the table. The warmth of the food lingered in her, stirring ancestral whispers. She felt connected to something vast, her fronds trembling with quiet awe. She glanced at Elias, his focus on the BioReplicator unwavering. Humans were strange, but maybe that was their strength. Security Chief Varen Loom circled the hall, his lattice form less rigid now. His sensors scanned the energy bands, finding no threat. He tasted another orb, its flavor softening his edges. Reluctantly, he joined the feast, standing among the delegates. His glow warmed, suspicion giving way to curiosity. The hall buzzed with laughter, lights intertwining like a cosmic weave. A delegate shared a tale of their world's first light festival, their voice bright with pride. Another responded with a story of shared energy wells. The feast became a mirror, reflecting shared roots across stars. Elias watched the band's pulse stronger, their forms more defined. They hovered like silent guardians, unseen by most but heavy with presence. He kept his focus on the BioReplicator, adjusting its output. The dishes glowed brighter, infused with the past's quiet energy. Jonah caught Elias's eye, offering a subtle nod. He sensed the moment's weight but kept the mood light. Earth's got a knack for surprises, he said to a nearby delegate, who laughed, their light flaring. The hall's energy swelled, a tide of unity. Tira approached Elias, her voice soft. "This food carries something old," she said. Elias nodded, unsure how to respond. Her words confirmed his choice to weave the signatures in, a silent tribute. Her fronds glowed faintly, a sign of trust. Varen moved closer to the table, his sensors quiet now. He tasted another dish, his glow blending with the crowd's. Humans weren't the threat he'd feared. The feast proved that, at least for now. Lenar stepped toward Elias, his voice low. "I misjudged you," he admitted, facets dimming briefly. Elias met his gaze, offering a small smile. "We all misjudge sometimes," he said. Lenar nodded, a spark of respect in his glow. The energy band's pulse brighter, catching more eyes. A delegate paused, staring upward. "What's that?" they asked, voice hushed. Elias tensed, but Jonah stepped in smoothly. "Just the station's lights playing tricks," he said, deflecting with ease. The hall's harmony grew, stories flowing like rivers. Delegates swapped tales of ancient migrations, of worlds born from light. The barbecue scent anchored them, a shared sensation. Elias adjusted the BioReplicator, keeping the flow steady. The bands shimmered vividly now, their forms almost tangible. Elias felt their presence like a weight on his chest. The truth hovered close, ready to break free. He glanced at Jonah, who gave a reassuring nod. A delegate raised a glowing tendril, requesting more of the sunset-flavored orbs. Elias obliged, the BioReplicator humming with precision. The hall glowed brighter, laughter echoing off the walls. Tira lingered near Elias, her fronds swaying gently. "This changes things," she whispered. Elias nodded, feeling the shift. The feast was more than food now. It was a reckoning. The energy bands pulsed stronger, their light weaving through the crowd. A few delegates noticed their glows flickering with curiosity. Elias braced himself, sensing the moment approaching. The feast hit its peak in Solaris Station's grand hall. Mingled energies painted the space in a vibrant spectrum. Delegates laughed and shared, their lights swirling like a cosmic storm. Elias Trent stood by the BioReplicator, his hum fading into the background noise. The energy bands above the table grew bolder, their pulses syncing with the crowd's rhythm. Suddenly, the bands coalesced into visible forms. They resembled ancient Alliance beings, ethereal and glowing. Delegates froze mid-conversation, eyes widening. A hush fell over the hall, broken only by faint gasps. The spectral figures hovered serenely, watching the gathering with quiet approval. Panic flickered through some delegates. Their lights dimmed, forms retreating slightly. Others glowed brighter, awe overtaking fear. Tira's fronds trembled, her glow pulsing erratically. Varen loomed tensed, his lattice form scanning for threats. Jonah Hale paused, his grin fading into concern. Elias stepped forward, heart pounding. "I integrated those energy signatures," he admitted, voice steady but soft. "They're remnants from the Alliance's past." Whispers rippled through the crowd, eyes turning to him. He explained the BioReplicator's detection, how it wove them into the dishes without harm. Archivist Sarl moved into the light, their ancient glow steady. These souls were consumed eons ago, Sarl confirmed, voice echoing like a distant star. We must face this truth. They urged the council forward, holograms flickering to show forgotten records. The chamber absorbed the words. A collective breath held. Professor Lenar stood tall, his crystalline facets glistening with what looked like tears. Eating isn't the sin, he declared, voice breaking slightly. It's forgetting to honor what we take. His glow dimmed, then brightened, a wave of emotion washing over him. Delegates murmured, his words striking deep. The council reacted slowly at first. Shock rippled like a wave, lights flickering unevenly. Then nods began, scattered but growing. Their glow stabilized, processing the revelation. A cloud-like delegate pulsed thoughtfully, their forms settling. Jonah seized the moment, stepping beside Elias. Every species has imperfections, he said, tone warm and firm. We grow by facing our shadows together. His words wove through the hall, a diplomat's bridge. Delegates leaned in, lights blending in agreement. The spectral souls began to dissolve, their forms melting into the feast. Energy merged with the delegates, a gentle infusion symbolizing forgiveness. Warmth spread through the hall, touching every being. Elias felt it too, a quiet peace settling over him. The hall fell silent, the weight of the moment heavy. Then understanding erupted, a chorus of shared voices. Species embraced their common flaws, lights intertwining tighter. Laughter returned, softer but deeper. Tira approached Elias, her fronds glowing brightly. This changes everything, she said. Varen lowered his defenses, his lattice relaxing fully. He nodded at Elias, a rare sign of respect. The feast resumed, but transformed. Dishes glowed with new meaning, each bite a reminder. Sorel archived the event mentally, ensuring the lesson endured. Lenar joined a group, sharing his shifted views. His arrogance gone, humility shone through. Jonah clapped Elias's shoulder. You turned chaos into unity, kid, he whispered. Elias nodded, overwhelmed but proud. The hall pulsed with life, a testament to growth. Delegates exchanged stories anew, weaving past sins into present bonds. The energy signatures faded completely, their purpose fulfilled. Peace lingered in their wake. Tira sampled another orb, her connection to ancestors stronger. She smiled at Elias and a bridge formed. The council's lights stabilized, harmony restored. The feast wound toward its close, but the impact echoed. Elias watched the crowd, sensing a new era. Jonah mingled, reinforcing ties. Varen stood guard no longer, joining the circle. His glow matched the others. Barriers down. The hall's spectrum brightened, a beacon of unity. Liner approached Sorel, discussing the teachings ahead. We'll honor the past, he said. Sorel nodded, archives open. The emotional peak crested, then eased. Delegates felt lighter, flaws accepted. Elias exhaled, the climax passing. The station's lights dimmed slightly, signaling the end. But bonds remained, forged in light and truth. The Grand Hall of Solaris Station glowed with a steady, warm light. Its vibrancy softened as the feast wound down. Delegates mingled, their forms a harmonious blend of colors, no longer divided by suspicion. Elias Trent stood by the BioReplicator, its hum quieter now, dishes still glowing on the table. The weight of the revealed truth settled, replaced by a shared sense of growth. The Aurora Alliance Council convened briefly, their lights pulsing in sync. A crystalline delegate spoke first, voice clear. This feast shows unity is possible. Murmurs of agreement rippled through. Another proposed an annual event, a feast of understanding to celebrate shared progress. Heads nodded, glows brightening. The motion passed swiftly. Elias watched, a mix of pride and relief washing over him. His accidental role as diplomat had reshaped the galaxy's view. The BioReplicator, once a source of scandal, now stood as a tool of peace. Delegates approached him, curious about its design. He explained their photon-weaving tech, their interest sparking new connections. Professor Linar stepped forward, his crystalline form softer than before. He faced Elias, facets catching the light. "I was wrong about you," he said, voice low but sincere. "I'll teach cultural humility at the academy." Elias nodded, a small smile breaking through. "We all learn," he replied. Linar's glow warmed, a vow sealed. Security Chief Varen Loom lingered nearby, his lattice form relaxed. He met Elias's gaze, offering a rare nod. "You're not a threat," Varen said almost gruffly. "Good work." Elias felt a spark of validation, the stern chief's approval hard-earned. Varen joined a group, his light blending with theirs. Jonah Hale approached, his grin wide. "You turned a lunchbox into galactic peace, kid," he said, clapping Elias's shoulder. Elias chuckled, tension melting. Jonah's pride felt like a warm hearth, grounding him amidst the cosmic stage. News of the feast spread beyond the station. Holographic feeds buzzed with reports, reaching 23 star systems. Requests for BioReplicator specs poured in, each system eager to join the tradition. Elias imagined feasts across the galaxy, light-based dishes uniting species. The thought steadied him. Tira, the photosynthetic student, hovered near the table. Her fronds glowed brighter, inspired by the night. "I want to study human culture," she told Elias, voice soft but firm, "to bridge more worlds." Elias smiled, touched by her resolve. Her curiosity mirrored his own, a seed for future ties. Delegates began exchanging light tokens, small pulses of energy symbolizing their pledge. They vowed to honor all species past and futures, a gesture born from the feast's truth. Elias received one from a cloud-like being, its warmth lingering in his hand. He offered one back, a human gesture adapted to light. The hall's atmosphere felt lighter, the emotional peak now a gentle slope. Stories continued, but softer, more reflective. A delegate spoke of their world's rebirth after conflict, another of shared harvests. The feast had woven their histories into a shared tapestry. Jonah mingled, reinforcing bonds with his easy charm. "Food's the universal language," he said to a senator, who laughed, their glow flaring. The senators shared a tale of their own, the hall echoing with warmth. Varen stood among the crowd, no longer a sentinel. His sensors rested, his role now one of connection. He swapped a token with Tira, a silent promise to trust. She accepted it, her fronds swaying gently. Linar and Sorel spoke quietly, planning to update Alliance teachings. "We'll archive this as a turning point," Sorel said, their ancient glow steady. Linar agreed, eager to share the lesson of humility. Elias stepped away from the BioReplicator, its work done for now. He looked out a viewport, stars stretching endlessly. Earth and Aurora felt closer, their lights aligned in his mind. The galaxy didn't seem so vast anymore. The council prepared to depart, but the energy lingered. Delegates moved with purpose, their bonds solidified. Elias felt a quiet pride, his role in this moment etched in their glows. Tira approached again, her voice thoughtful. "This feast will echo," she said. Elias nodded, sensing the truth. The tradition was born, a legacy of light and understanding. Jonah joined him at the viewport, his tone reflective. "You've given them something new," he said. Elias shrugged, a bit sheepish. "Just wanted lunch," he joked. Jonah laughed, the sound carrying hope. The station's lights dimmed slightly, signaling the end. Delegates gathered their tokens, ready to return home. Elias felt the moment settle, a foundation laid for something greater. The observation deck of Solaris Station offered a breathtaking view, Earth and Aurora gleaming side by side in the cosmic dawn. Their lights merged in the distance, a quiet promise of harmony. Elias Trent stood by the viewport, the feast's final moments unfolding behind him. The grand hall glowed softly, its table still laden with the last of the BioReplicator's light-based dishes. Delegates gathered around the table, There forms a vibrant spectrum of shared energy. Laughter rippled through, warm and unguarded. A young alien, its tendrils pulsing with curiosity, approached Elias. "What's this dish called?" it asked, holding a glowing orb. Elias grinned, a spark of humor lighting his eyes. "Light BBQ. No meat. All flavor." The table erupted in laughter, the sound echoing off the station's walls. Jonah Hale leaned against a nearby console, watching the scene. "Food's the universal language," he said to Elias, voice low and reflective. "You just taught the galaxy how to speak it." Elias nodded, a faint blush creeping up. The weight of the moment felt lighter now, grounded in shared joy. Archivist Sarel stood among the delegates, their ancient glow steady. They recorded the feast mentally, ensuring its lessons endured. "This marks a new era," Sorrell said to a nearby senator, who nodded, their light pulsing in agreement. The archives would hold this day, a pivot point for the Alliance. Security Chief Varin Loom lingered near the table, his lattice form relaxed. He approached Elias, his voice softer than before. "Good luck, human," he said, a hint of warmth in his tone. "We'll meet again." Elias smiled, sensing a bridge built. Varen's nod felt like a quiet alliance, a step toward trust. The hall buzzed with final exchanges, delegates swapping stories and light tokens. A cloud-like being shared a tale of their nebula's rebirth, their glow flaring brightly. Another spoke of ancient feasts finding echoes in Earth's traditions. The table became a hearth, warming every soul present. Tira, the photosynthetic student, hovered nearby, her fronds swaying gently. She caught Elias's eye, offering a small pulse of light. "I'll study your world," she said, voice firm with purpose, "to understand more." Elias felt a surge of pride. Her curiosity mirrored his own, a spark for future bonds. Jonah joined Elias at the viewport, the stars stretching endlessly before them. "You've done more than most diplomats," he said, his grin softening. Elias shrugged, a bit sheepish. "Just wanted to eat lunch," he said. Jonah chuckled, the sound carrying hope across the deck. The station's lights dimmed further, signaling departure. Delegates gathered their belongings, their glows steady and warm. The feast had woven their histories into a shared future, scars acknowledged but not feared. Elias watched them move, their unity a quiet triumph. Sorrell approached the table one last time, their glow serene. They touched a dish, archiving its essence. "This will be remembered," they said, voice like a distant echo. The council nodded, their lights blending in silent agreement. Vorin joined a group of delegates, swapping a final token. His role as sentinel had shifted. He was part of the circle now. He glanced at Elias, a flicker of respect in his glow. The station hummed softly, its energy mirroring the harmony below. The final dishes faded, the BioReplicator powering down. Elias felt a pang of finality, but also peace. The galaxy had tasted Earth's heart and found it kind. He looked out at the stars, Earth and Aurora, shining as one. Laughter echoed again, a delegate mimicking Elias's BBQ quip. The sound carried across the hall, a fitting close. Jonah nudged Elias, pointing to the planets. "Look at that. 2 worlds, 1 dawn." Elias nodded, the sight etching into his memory. The camera of his mind zoomed out, capturing the station's glow against the cosmic void. Earth and Aurora stood together, their lights merged in a radiant dance. A soft hum filled the deck, a song of shared energy, symbolizing lasting peace. A title card lingered in Elias's thoughts. The Feast of Understanding, where every scar becomes a story and every meal a bridge. The words felt true, a beacon for the future. The galaxy was smaller now, bound by light and trust.